And we are live. Welcome to another Super Galactic Saturday. I'm Jerry Sr. without Jerry Jr., but I do have Hero Geek with us again today. Welcome, Hero Geek, and thanks for joining us again, man. You're always welcome.
No problem. It's always a pleasure. Always fun. Always.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So yeah, man, how you doing? How you been? What you been up to?
I've been good. Been good. I joined the gym, so
Nice. All right.
I'm gonna.
Step in the right direction.
I'm really like starting to take my fitness more seriously now. Like I really want to get in shape. Uh,
Yeah, it's good.
so yeah, this last week I joined the gym. I went 3 days out of the week. I'm gonna go try to 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
it's good.
but yeah, so I want to get fit. I want to look better. So yeah,
That's a worthwhile goal.
it is.
I encourage it. Yeah, so
Yeah,
especially as you get older,
it
it's
won't
more
be
important.
easy, but like I really want
Uh,
to take it seriously this
but
time.
anything that's worth having is never really easy.
No, yeah, exactly.
So,
Yeah,
so, yeah. That's good, man. I'm happy to hear that.
yeah. I've been doing pretty good. I'm better than I was doing a couple of months ago. I'm doing well actually. I feel good.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I'm happy to hear it, man.
yeah.
And you got that beautiful Florida weather, right?
Yeah, actually, it's been really rainy recently. For the past 2 weeks, it's rained almost every afternoon.
Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. Summer rain.
Uh,
Well,
yeah.
it is
Here,
Florida, so
here, here during the summers, it's pretty rainy here in the summers. Like for the last so since I can remember, it's always rained on the 4th of July. Always.
really.
Talking like every single 4th of July, it rains.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder why that is. That's interesting.
I don't know. It's just every single year, 4th of July, rain.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
that's not too unusual for Florida. I mean,
No, it's not. It's
yeah,
pretty normal. So yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's that region of the United States is has
Mm,
that kind of weather, kind of
yeah.
tropical, humid. So you're gonna get a lot of rain. So which is kind of nice though. So I always enjoy when I'm going to Florida. Despite the heat, I like the fact that it's sort of the sporadic rain that happens. You know,
Yeah.
so it's kind of nice.
Oh. So how you doing today? How you been?
All is well. I'm doing okay. I can't complain. Lots of things going on, good and bad, but I'm
Oh,
thankful.
by the way, I want to mention with your skill, you should make an intro for the pod for the stream, like an actual official intro you play before
I
every.
know. Yeah, I thought about that too. You're right. I should.
I mean, I've seen the stuff you can do. You could do some pretty epic stuff.
Yeah, I just need to take time to do it.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, I got some ideas. Like I did the little space thing because that was kind of quick and simple.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, you're right. I probably should. I think it'd be fun.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool.
An actual intro. That'd be cool. Yeah. So I've thought about it. So you're not the first to mention it either. So,
Yeah, right.
but yeah, I'll I gotta just carve out some. Hopefully, in the next couple of weeks, maybe I could. So
I think it's a cool idea.
I'm taking some vacation time from my
Mhm.
jobs.
So, um, Odyssey premiere, right?
Yeah.
So, I have no interest in watching it. I don't think that you do either, right?
No, I
No.
honestly do not. And I like Christopher Nolan. I like his work. Um,
I think he's a little for me. I think Nolan is a little overrated and pretentious to me, but that's just my opinion.
well, at this stage, with this movie in particular, that seems to be the case in
Mm.
my impression. So I'm kind of with you on that too. Um, but and what's I guess what I find a little irritating about it is that it's very vapid, right? The things he's doing, right, is simply to meet check a box so that he can get an award, right? Um, and that's kind of what it appears to be. Like he doesn't really believe these things. He does. He's not. He probably could care less either way. In my
But
opinion, that's my
that's my
impression.
question, though. That's my question. I'm wondering if it was the studio that mandated all this DEI diverse cast, or
No,
if Nolan wanted to do it.
it's more or less the award shows, right? And
Right.
yeah, the studio may have a hand in encouraging it for sure. It's not really incentivized anymore. Like I don't think there's money, with the current administration. I think they've cut all that out.
Uh-huh.
So it's more or less a cultural thing, and it's also things that are spillover from previous, right?
So like people
These
like
criteria
and all that.
exist for to get an Oscar, to get nominated, you have to have these box checks.
Right.
So I
Because
think
I don't
that's what
think
happened here.
because I don't think Nolan I think Nolan is big enough to do whatever he wants to do. He
Yeah,
doesn't
yes, yeah, that's
he
exactly
he
right.
didn't need to listen to all this DEI crap. He didn't
No, he
he could have
doesn't.
passed the movie in a more accurate way because he has the pull. He has the
Well, I'll put it this way: Christopher Nolan is talented enough to have figured out a way to meet the criteria without it being ham-fisted and lazy, right?
but it is very ham-fisted and lazy.
Yeah. So, and that shows tells me that he doesn't really care.
Yeah.
But what's happening is he's just appeasing the people around him. I think, including his wife and the Academy, etc., so that he can get that nomination and hopefully the award, right? And that's it. It's There's nothing more. This is not a truly artistic pursuit. It's really more of a pragmatic pursuit of, well, let me get my golden trophy, right?
Mm,
Because I want one, right? Because think about it, you know, he did Oppenheimer. He's done so many other movies, some
right.
good, some better than others, obviously, right?
Hmm.
It's like he should have gotten an award already, you know. Um,
Yeah.
and so if he hasn't yet, that's you know that's terrible. you but I think that's what's happening. I don't, and I don't know the guy. I'm just going by interviews. My impression is I don't think he really cares either way, but I think he's just
Which is
going
kind of
along with it.
that he doesn't care.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly don't think most of these people care. Um,
Yeah.
like I think many of them are just going along to get along because they want a job or they want to make money. In this case, I think it's more or less the people around him care more than he does. That's my opinion. I don't have any insider information. That's just my impression. Is because he's never cared before. If you look at his body of work, there's never been this attempt at pandering to an audience. You know,
Until
he's
now,
just
yeah.
he just tells a good story. Even Tenet, he had a black lead, which was great. But it didn't. I never felt like it was pandering to anybody. Like I don't never felt it. Never. I never got the impression from the movie that the movie was trying to pander to black people or something. Right?
Hmm.
It
Right.
doesn't have that feel at all. It's just this very very overly complex story, but that's what I mean. Like I don't get the impression like roll my eyes like man they got this black guy doing this or it wasn't like that at all. It was a well-rounded character and there was a lot of mystery and it was a well-produced movie. It was just incredibly confusing. Right? That's really
Which is his MO. All his movies
yeah,
have.
it kind of is. Yeah, I agree. So, but you know what I mean? Like, so it's like, why are you doing it now? Like, it's clear you can have you can cast, a black man, a black woman, etc., and tell a story, and it's just a story. It's a great story. So it's like, why are you taking a lazy route now? Like, what's happening here with the Odyssey? It's one of the grandest stories in all of human literature, right? Um,
Mm.
it's like doing the story of the Bible, right? It's like doing the Ten Commandments again, like, and you're just kind of half-assing it. But it's like, what are you doing, right? It doesn't make any sense, So that's why I think he doesn't care. I think it's just he's doing it because I don't know. Maybe there's contractual agreements where he has to do it. Um, and like I said, and among those is well, you gotta check these boxes. He's like, whatever. I'm getting paid either way. So
You know,
that's my impression. So
at this point, I'm at a place where I don't care if reviews are positive, if reviews are good. Oh, it's actually a really good movie. I don't care about that anymore.
yeah, I don't either.
It doesn't.
That doesn't change
It
anything.
it doesn't make a difference to me if it's a well-made movie, because for me, um, I've drawn a line, and I say this every time I come on, but I've drawn a line in the sand, and I won't cross it for anything. I don't care if it's a well-made movie. I don't care if Lupita, whatever her name is a really, really good actress and she's played a really good Helen of Troy. That doesn't matter to me anymore.
Well, go back to Gladiator 2, right?
Oh
When
god, that movie was
Denzel
horrible.
Washington.
That movie was horrible.
And it's like I didn't care for that because of that. I like Denzel Washington, right? But I'm like, yeah, why are they? It doesn't follow, right? So it's like, why are they doing this? It's just checking a box. So it's like even if someone said it was a great movie, like oh, it was a great, say I don't care. Like,
No,
I
no,
just I don't want to participate in
exactly.
that.
And you have people, and I'm sure you got this a lot. Like, well, how do you know? How do you know if you don't see it? How do you know if it's good or bad if you don't see it? Like, it doesn't make a difference to me if it's good or bad.
Yeah, it's not relevant anymore. That's my point. It's not relevant if it's good or bad. Like we mentioned the Avengers, the Marvel Phase
Yeah.
1 and through 3 or whatever, and with the Nick Fury, and it's like okay, I mean I enjoyed it, and it's like at the time I know my impression was this wasn't about virtue signaling, right? Maybe it was though, but it didn't appear to be that, and I participated. But at this stage, it's so blatant now,
Mm-hmm.
right? Compared to that era, right, where it didn't feel blatant, it didn't feel forced. It felt like, well, okay, this is a decision they made. They took a chance. It's based on some kind of very variant from the comics, I guess. It was like, all right, whatever, and it turned out really good. But here, it's like, I don't know. It feels so forced and out of nowhere, and it lacks any kind of reason. And
Yeah, and
especially
I can't.
conceptually speaking, because it's the Odyssey itself.
Yeah.
It's like, and a good comparison that came up, I've seen in the feed, on X and even on Facebook about Moana and how they went out of their way to make sure they cast the type, right? They cast actual Samoans,
Paul
things
and
like that.
yeah, Paul and
Polynesian.
Moan kind of,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like okay, I have no problem with that. I think that's actually really nice.
Of course. Yeah.
And I'm like, so why didn't you do that with the Odyssey? Why, like Moana is a completely made. It's the same thing. It's a mythological story.
Mhm.
But
But it is um Polynesian mythology. It is Hawaiian mythology, so that's important.
right,
You
yeah,
know.
that's my point. Though it's I wouldn't say it's on par with the Odyssey, but you can say it's the same thing, right? They're both mythological stories.
I
So
mean,
the
it's
argument
just,
that well, it's just a mythological story, it's not real.
yeah, it
That
feels
doesn't hold water because you have the effort being made in one space, and in the same space, you know, just the neighbor next door, basically, they're not making the effort.
right, but it does
Like,
it
why
does
is it?
it doesn't really matter because the idea of a live action Mulan is the stupidest idea ever. Anyway, honestly, it's just dumb.
Well, I agree, but my point is that it's it's the inconsistency and
Yeah,
hypocrisy of it.
right.
See, when it's a certain people type of people group,
Hmm.
right, you have to cast a type. But when it's not, right, when it's the what's perceived to be the majority, right,
Hmm.
people group, oh well, it doesn't matter. right? And
Oh,
that's the problem. That's what I'm saying. Like
I know.
it's this covert racism
Right.
basically that's happening,
I know
and
for
a lot of people don't want to point that out.
I know for a fact that Greek people are pissed at this movie.
Yeah, I've heard.
Like really, really mad
And
at it.
that's fine. They should be.
And they should be, yes. Yeah.
I would be, and you know, um, they should make a big stink about it.
Yeah.
Because if you flip all, for me, it's a basic logic test. Just flip it around, and if it doesn't hold up when you flip it around, then it's wrong the
It's
way it
wrong.
is. Right? It's as simple as that. If they did this with Moana, and they had a bunch of white people running around with tan lotion, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and pretending to be Polynesian, but they're not.
Mm-hmm.
There'll be a whole stink about it, right?
Yeah.
It'll be viral. There'll be controversy. You know, I mean, all these things, right? The
Mm-hmm.
movie get trashed, and yet you flip the script. We literally have that happening in real time with the Odyssey, and there's crickets from these same people,
Yeah.
and
And
that's the problem.
if you bring attention to it or you say
Yeah,
anything,
all of a sudden you're being unreasonable to on the nice end, and on the extreme end, oh, you're just racist, misogynist, homophobic.
all of those, yeah.
Yeah, all the bad things, right? And it's so nonsensical, you know, to entertain foolishness as if it has legitimacy.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're asking us to do. And I'm not even talking about just the race swapping, but they have I forgot her name, the one that she transitioned to male.
No,
Uh,
she's still female. I'm sorry, she's not male.
all right. Well, I know, but I'm saying she's transitioned. Apparently, I can't remember her name. What is her name? I can't remember.
Something Page, her
Yeah, Paige. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's like what are we doing here? Right, and created the role specifically for her. Why? Oh, so you can pander, right?
exactly.
It's like it's the most, and we're supposed to celebrate this. And I've been seeing her do the rounds, these interviews talking about masculinity. I'm like, this is the most absurdist, like they know it's absurd, and yet they're doing it as if we should take what she's saying seriously.
Oh my
Can
goodness.
you imagine? Well, and they've been doing this though with some of these transgender guys dressing as women, and taking their input in with a, you know, like it's real, like it's serious. It's like, bro, like this is nonsense. You might as well be talking to a circus clown about how they hate being laughed at, right? Like this is how ridiculous it
It
is, right?
is.
It's like, and they want us to look at this and go and take it seriously and go, oh, these poor people. It's like, and it's not about condoning some type of violence or harassment. It's not that extreme, right? We're talking about just presenting something that is on its face absurd as if it's not absurd. We're supposed to accept it.
Mm-hmm.
That's ridiculous, right? And it's insulting. And I think intelligent people are insulted, and those who are kind of choose to be oblivious for whatever reason, they're not, because either they don't want to deal with it,
Well, you know what? That's you
or
bring
they're just not aware.
point. You bring up a good point because I want to transition to normie mentality. Now, sometimes I feel a little cursed that I can't ignore things or unsee patterns, and that I care too much, right? So my sister is a normie. I love her. I love my sister so much, but I can't talk about certain things with my sister because it'll just really frustrate me. Um, we were talking about I told her talking about getting together, do something fun, whatever, and then I mentioned that that I would love to go to the movies again, but there's nothing I want to watch in theaters.
Yeah.
And then she mentioned, "Oh, I heard the Odyssey was good." I'm like, "Oh God, why?" And I had to calm down because like, oh, people on TikTok said the movie was good, and like goes, well, I mean, and I tried to explain to her, all of that, and it's like, well, you know what? Swaps don't bother me that much anymore. It's not a big deal. It's just their interpretation. Ah! Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's
But the thing is, though, she and normies don't dissect these choices or these decisions or how it affects culture in general. They don't do that.
no, not. But see, that's why it's so subversive. Is because the people that make this stuff are counting on that,
Mm-hmm.
right? They count on the normies just accepting it because why not, right? And that's why they control the media where they can push it and encourage you. Oh, go watch it. It's great. Oh, it's like the initial reviews of the Odyssey were, oh, it's epic and it's amazing tour de force and all this stuff. And when you finally get actual reviews from honest people, it's like it's okay.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
it's
and
and some far worse than that, but you're getting a more honest and measured, just like they're comparing it to Lord of the Rings on Rotten Tomatoes with the reviews. I'm like, well, the critics' reviews are a bit on par, but the artist reviews are not even close, right? There's only like about 2,000, I think, or so far, versus Lord of the Rings. You have hundreds of thousands of reviews already, and it's at 87%, I think.
right.
So, that's a big difference. So you got to get way more audience to review and give it a positive review so that you can reach that level.
Mm.
So it's like, but they're already comparing it because the critics' reviews are on par. And I'm like, well, we'll see. We'll see how long that lasts. Right? If we get some honest critics, um, that might change the numbers quite a bit. Right? So, it's it's fascinating, to see. But they're counting on that, right?
Yeah, yeah,
They have Hollywood is a machine, right? And on the one end of the machine, it's like in the Bugs Bunny cartoons, whatever. They drop in the thing, right, the hay, and then you see all the little buttons and the bells and the turbines and blah. And then on the other end, it spits out the hay block, and it's perfect, right? That's Hollywood, right? They drop in the slop, and it goes through the whole productions and the media hype and the press junkets and tours and all these different things, the red carpets. Then on the other end, what comes out is the normies who are like, oh, yeah, I think I might have liked that, right?
yeah.
Because this person that I have some level of respect for likes it also, right? Or my daughter loved it. My 9-year-old daughter loved it, therefore it must be good. That kind of stuff, right? I mean, you understand what I'm saying? It's like that's what happens, And listen, there's always going to be a percentage of people who genuinely do enjoy these things, right? And that's fine. Right? I'm not saying it's
Right. But
necessarily
the thing is, they don't,
bad
they don't,
that you do, but it should never be the majority, and
they don't.
usually it's not.
Yeah.
Right?
The
It's usually
thing is,
not
that
the
they don't
majority.
think. They don't. Okay, so my sister doesn't think about how this is affecting uh, Greek people or Greek actors who would want to be in this movie, and it would have been more authentic and genuine to do that.
Yeah,
She doesn't
kind
think.
of like the Snow White debacle, right? Where they did CGI dwarfs,
Uh
you know,
huh.
where and then what's his name, Dinklage, right, makes a comment about, oh well, like little people shouldn't be cast as little people for some reason,
Right. And
and
also,
it's like, what are you talking about, bro? Like that's work. You know how many of your peers that affects for you to put that out there and say it's not a good idea to cast to type,
hmm,
for little people, you're crazy. But see, you're already at the top, so you're gonna kick the ladder out, right?
hmm,
So no one else could climb up. And that's kind of what he was doing, in my opinion. It's like, yeah, you can't do that, man. That's not because you were doing that yourself throughout your career.
Mm-hmm.
right? You were playing the troll or the elf or whatever, right? But now that you've got Game of Thrones, right, and a few other high profile movies, all of a sudden,
Well, the thing about Peter Dinklage is that he's transitioned to just regular characters, regular roles, not
well, that's my point. But he didn't start that way. But now
exactly.
that he's seen as a legitimate actor and that he can play these roles, and especially roles where it doesn't matter if he's a normal height or not, right? Like he was in Dexter, right? He was great in Dexter actually. Yeah. This kind of villainous billionaire, right? But it's like, bro, don't kick the ladder out for the ones coming behind you, right?
Mm.
For the ones that are kind of with you, but they're not as up there as you are. Now you're discouraging Hollywood. Oh, don't cast little people as little people.
Right.
Like that's retarded. That's evil. Don't do
And that's the problem. And people don't think about how this affects actual Greek people and
that.
Greek actors.
Yeah, they don't
They
care.
don't.
They
They don't.
don't care.
They
And
don't
that's
care.
that's kind of what I'm saying. It's like you want to sit here and push Disney to you need to be accurate with all the representation, but then you want to turn Namor into a Spanish Aztec,
Mm-hmm.
you know, which he was never presented that way in the comics.
Yep.
But all of a sudden he has to be uh, you know he has to represent
But
Hispanics, Latinos, and which makes no sense. But okay,
yeah.
so you want to basically race swap that, right? But then Moana has to be accurate to the T, right? I mean, you understand? It's the most ridiculous thing. Like it's so inconsistent and all over the place because there is no rhyme or reason to it. It's all about this sort of socio political gesture to push their own in their and I think in their minds, right? I don't think there's a reality to it at all. To push an agenda, you know. I think Critical Drinker called it the message, right? And that's all it is. And like I said, Christopher Nolan, I don't think he cares about the message. I think he's just, well, whatever, guys. Sure, let's check these boxes because I'm contractually obligated. you know. And I think that's worse because, at some point you got to draw a line and you have to stand for something, right? Like you have to believe in something, right? You can't spend your life just being this neutral, you know, being was this Switzerland or whatever, being neutral territory, right? Mentally and psychologically. At some point, you got to just say this is dumb and mean it and stand on that, you know. And that's the problem with normies is they're not going to do that because they'll always dismiss it as, oh, it's just entertainment. It's just but entertainment, is downstream from culture and politics and all the things that matter, right? And religion, you know,
Yeah.
it, it's a reflection of those things, right? And so when you start seeing entertainment that celebrates foolishness, that celebrates depravity, right? You got to start questioning and go, wait a minute, what's going on here?
I have a
What are we?
question for you.
Sure.
Do you think that normies are worse than aggressively woke people when it comes to this sort of thing? Do you?
That's a good question. To a degree, yeah. I think in a certain context they are worse because there's a term we used to use a lot um, back in it was like the 90s, early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
Sheep, right? There's
Mm-hmm.
sheep, and the sheeple, the sheep go wherever the shepherd leads them,
Yeah.
but the sheep will go everywhere anyone leads them, right? That's why they stray because something leads them away, something distracts them. So
Yeah.
another shepherd can come and just take your sheep when you're not looking, and that makes them frustrating to deal with, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why the shepherd has a staff, and the staff isn't just to kind of gently guide them; it's also there to whack them on the head,
Yeah.
so whack them in the butt to make them comply and get in line, right? And yeah, that's kind of where we are with a lot of people is they're sheeple because they don't want to engage with the culture in a way that challenges the culture. They want to engage with it and kind of just go with it, because it's more fun and there's less confrontation.
Right. And there's also, I think there's also a level of them not being creative people, so they don't see things the way that people like you and I
That's true.
do.
I mean, that's true, and that's why I say it in a certain context, because part of it is, a lot of people just they're not super, like I know people that don't listen to music. They just, like for me, that's kind of wild. Like you don't
That's
listen to
weird.
music. I love music, right? But some people are just like, yeah, I don't care about music. I don't care about pop music and all that. I don't care about, you know, all these
Yeah,
different
like
but they just don't listen to it.
they don't care about storytelling. They don't care about
Yeah,
art. They
yeah,
don't
that's
care.
right. It's people that like, I have a friend he's like, I don't like animation. I don't care about, and for me, I'm like, what? you know, like what? But it's
Yeah,
like, yeah, yeah,
yeah. Like
I don't engage it. So
their entertainment is doom scrolling on TikTok. That's their
yeah, for some, yeah,
entertainment.
for
You know.
many, I mean, there's a reason why these social media companies have, are making all this money. It's because there's billions of people engaged on it, and among those, yeah, there are people who don't care about any of this stuff, and that's fine. If you don't care about it and you're not engaging with it, that's a little different, right? You're not exactly helping anything, and you're not really hindering either. You know, because
But
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 it's the ones that
the
don't
normies,
care, but they engage with it, and they
yeah,
engage with it
that's the
blindly.
problem. The ones that don't care
They give their dollars to it,
but
their
still
time.
engage with it because someone on TikTok said it was good.
Yeah, well, even aside from it, just engaging with it blindly, like where there's no discernment. It's just, oh, here it is. Here's money. You know, uh, the mean,
Yeah.
just consume content, right?
Oh, they
That's
possibly race swapped characters from the original story. Whatever, it doesn't matter to me. Like,
yeah. It doesn't matter. I don't care as long as it's good, right? That's what a lot of people say.
yeah,
As long as it's good, and then it rarely is. I mean, I would say 9 times out of 10, it's not good.
yeah. But it is though,
And
like
they
we said
still
before,
engage it. They still
even
support it. They still pay money.
yeah, even if it was good or well made, it doesn't matter to me. I'm not going to engage with it. I'm not going to.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
doesn't make a difference. It doesn't make a
But,
difference because
but excuse me. But yeah, that's the problem is engagement. That's what keeps it going.
it's gone to the point where they're doing it to historical figures, and nobody seems to care.
Yeah, that's I thought there was a line to that
Oh no, there is
uh,
not.
until I started. Yeah, not just with Odyssey, but with some of these shows. I think they're like British shows.
The BBC is
Yeah,
infamous for race swapping actual
yeah,
historical
actual
figures.
historical. Yeah, and that's where I'm like, okay, this has gone a bridge too far. Like it's one thing to make the argument for fictionalized characters,
Hmm.
and to a degree, it's valid, right? I think there's context to that. For example, in high school, not high school, in elementary school, I remember playing a character in Taming of the Shrew, but clearly the character isn't a black character, right? Later on, at the time I didn't, I wasn't thinking about it, I didn't care. But it's like at a school where it's majority black and Latino, and you're doing Shakespeare, you kind of you're limited in your casting, right? You're going to cast who's the best in that environment. So you're going to end up with black characters playing characters that were traditionally portrayed as non-black, right? That's not a problem, right? It is what it is. Like
Right.
no one's going to go to my sixth grade class and demand that there's historical accuracy. It's like that's absurd. So let's be logical, but we're talking about multi-million-dollar Hollywood
Mhm.
project, whether it's for television or for the big screen, where there's resources available to cast the type, right?
Mhm.
Like there's a plethora of actors and actresses of all types, right?
I,
Ethnicities,
I,
etc.
I-
There's a plethora of money to pay those actors. So we're not in a
no,
small ecosystem where, like there is in history, you can look at like kabuki theater and things where the men were the women also because women weren't allowed because of the culture, right? The culture dictated, and it's like okay, it's not what we're talking about here. Like
yeah, the BBC. I know, I looked a little bit into it, but it's so much. The BBC does it so much that I lost count and how many times they do
yeah,
They
it's
do it
quite
a
prevalent.
lot, a lot.
Yeah, that's what really kind of shocked me a bit. I'm like, how are they getting away with this? Like,
Not
why
not
aren't
not
people?
not
Yeah,
only do they race swap, they also imply that they were lesbians or they were gay or a lot of like.
yeah, well, yeah.
Whoa.
That's always the thing. Yeah, yeah. That's the other layer that they slap on too.
Yeah.
They're always a minority and generally black, and then they make them gay also for some reason.
Mhm.
I always see that parallel. They love to do that where they bring in a black character, and that black character is almost always gay or lesbian or
Yeah.
so kind of.
And then
And
they
I'm like, why
Netflix
do you keep doing that?
Netflix Netflix did it with Cleopatra with the Cleopatra project that they did Netflix.
oh, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So
Yeah, it's pretty. Didn't they do something with it was like a Viking king or something.
yeah, they did
They
some,
made the
yeah,
black king.
yeah. They did
Yeah,
something with the
it's like
Vikings
what?
too. Right,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
like, what is happening here?
Yeah.
It makes no sense
No,
whatsoever.
no. I mean,
Like it's one thing to use it as inspiration, and you make this parallel story, and you gender swap because the story lends itself to that, right? That's not what we're talking about. You're actually claiming we're going to portray this historical, era, this historical person and story,
mhm.
but we're going to make them female.
Or
But it's
black,
the same, yeah, in black, yeah. But
whatever.
it's the same story environment. It's just everything else is going to be historically accurate. Doesn't it's like what is the point of that? Like it doesn't make any sense, right? Unless you're doing it as parody, right? I can see that, but it's not parody. Like they're actually expecting you to look at this and go, yeah, this is serious, dramatics, cinema like this. And I'm like, yeah, no.
And look,
And I kind of wonder if people really are watching this stuff.
it wouldn't pass the switch. What did you call it? The test?
The
Like
smell test.
no, if you were to do it with like someone like Shaka Zulu or Martin Luther
Oh
King,
yeah, if you just flip
or
it around, yeah, just flip it. And that's what I'm
yeah,
saying. Just flip it, flip the script, and all of a sudden it's a problem.
uh-huh.
And that's the point I'm making. Is it's just the hypocritical and inconsistent and illogical that are doing these things, and expects you to not point out the hypocrisy or the illogic of it all, right? It's like, no, I'm going to point out you're like the emperor is naked. I'm going to say you're naked, bro. Go
Hmm.
put some clothes, right? That's the whole problem. The emperor is naked, but very few people want to point it out, right? Because they're afraid of being called all these different names, being labeled, being
I
canceled,
would
whatever.
love it. I would love it if someone out there with like billions of dollars and bold enough would do something like this. Like I want to see it.
Like what? You mean just call it out?
No, actually make a movie based
Oh,
like someone make a Shaka Zulu movie and cast a white guy as Shaka Zulu. I
yeah.
want to see it.
Cast everyone as white.
Cast everyone as white.
That would be hilarious.
You know?
And no one would take it seriously, right? No one with any intelligence will look at that and go, "This is a serious take on this." No matter how dramatic and how serious the actors and like, no one would. They'll dismiss it as this is absurd, right? But yet, this is what's happening in the inverse, right? And we're supposed to say, oh, okay, sure. Right? It's it's ridiculous. So, yeah.
I would
Yeah,
love
I mean that would be amazing. And now
I'd
now
be
we have AI. It's not that difficult or expensive.
no.
So we can definitely
Well,
do something.
that is if the AI that you use isn't woke like ChatGPT or something like that, because they wouldn't, you know.
Yeah, it's challenging because they do have filters. That's true. You have to know how to prompt it out without
Right.
using triggering words. Basically, that's really what it is. You can get around it, but you have to prompt it a certain way. So it is possible. It is doable. So now if someone does it, that's another. Maybe Elon Musk will.
You know, maybe we, you know, when she was alive, and we should have cast Betty White as Rosa Parks. You know. Mm.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you understand, right?
You know.
I mean, 90s, 90-year-old Rosa Parks
Yeah.
singing the well, so yeah, that would be hilarious. A white 90-year-old. That's
Yeah.
you know, yeah, it's at the point of absurdity, but it hasn't reached that tipping point yet. Because we still haven't cast grown adult men as children, right? Like Little Orphan Annie, right? We need to find, like Kevin James and cast him as Little Orphan Annie
Hmm.
with a full dress. I mean, you understand, like Naked Gun with Liam Neeson, right at the beginning. He's dressed as a little, he has a little skirt on, and it's like that's where it has to get to for the normies to start going. Wait a minute, like like I really believe that. Like it has to get to the point of just complete and utter, just mockery, right? We're already there, in my opinion, but I think for many, you know, among, like I said, among the what we call normies, the sheeple, it hasn't. It's not enough. It
It's not.
has to be so extreme. It's so ridiculous. They finally go, wait a minute, like you know, because they know it's happening. They just don't want to acknowledge it. They want to pretend like it's no big deal. I
Yeah.
think that's true for many of them, maybe even most. That they are seeing it. It's not like they're oblivious, like they really don't get it. They do get it, but it's it's socially acceptable to accept the unacceptable.
Yeah.
That's the problem. And so when it starts to become socially acceptable to reject the unacceptable, is where you'll start to see the shift, right? And I think that can happen when it becomes so unacceptable that it's egregious, right? Like it's, at some point, like when if they cast, Kevin James as Little Orphan Annie, and I'm only saying his name because that's the name that popped in my head.
Mhm.
And people, and they're trying to pass out like it's a serious thing. Like he identifies as a little girl, therefore we cast him as Little Orphan Annie, and they want the world to look at that in a serious manner. I think that's where a lot of sheep will go. I'm out.
There's
Like,
also there's also an arrogance to generally, but like more specifically Christopher Nolan and the production of the Odyssey, when there is obvious evidence. Like I'm gonna use Helen of Troy for as an example here. Helen of Troy in the original Iliad, Homer's Iliad, and the Odyssey and whatnot, she was described as fair skinned with golden hair. Like it's right there, right there. So the choice to cast her was um arrogant, aggressive, arrogant, aggressive. Um, I'm searching for the right word for arrogant.
well, the word that comes to my mind is disrespectful.
Okay, yeah, arrogant, disrespectful, aggressive, and uh, subversion.
Yeah, definitely subversive. Yeah.
Subversive to the point of like flipping the bird to the original
Well,
story.
let me ask you this question. You
Uh-huh.
you know who Vanessa Williams is, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. She was big in the '90s, and yeah,
Yeah, she was like former.
Supermodel.
Yeah, and wasn't she like Miss America? Then she lost her crown or something.
Yeah, I saw a movie with her recently. Was it The Eraser with Arnold Schwarzenegger? She was in that. I know that.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and someone mentioned I think she was cast as a mythological character in another movie. I can't remember what.
Hmm.
I heard it in passing, but I just thought, what if she were cast as Helena Troy? Would there be a lot of pushback? Would there be? And I kind of feel like probably not, right? Because in addition to, even though she's not white, I think she is mixed though.
Mm-hmm.
But compared to, and I'm not, I'm talking about Vanessa Williams from 20 years ago, right? not,
Well,
not,
that's just it. If the movie were made back then, it wouldn't the DEI thing wouldn't be a thing because it wasn't a thing back then.
yeah. Well, that's kind of what I'm getting at is, but I think that it would be more accepted, um, for a simple reason because she is objectively beautiful, right? She was.
Yeah,
uh,
yeah,
there's
yes.
no denying that she's a beautiful, like exceptionally beautiful woman, right? And I say that because and it's no shade on Lupita Nyong'o, but she's no Vanessa Williams,
No.
and I think that's a big part of
And,
the
I'm
issue.
sorry, Lupita's not unattractive, but I don't see.
No, she's not, but she's
I
not
don't see
someone you would go,
how.
that's the most beautiful woman. Well, no,
No,
not even close.
I don't
She's cute, but if you had Vanessa Williams' face, do you understand? And you said we're going to cast her as the most beautiful woman in the world. Very few people will go, no way, right? Most people will go, well, okay. Why? Well, I mean, she is incredibly beautiful. So there's
think.
another
But
that's another layer to
I've
this
sort of
whole thing as well.
I've sort of become very very radical in the way I think about this sort of thing. Like I don't I don't give an inch anymore. I used to. I used to give an inch, but I've become radicalized. If that makes any sense,
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
you know, I'm just like no, no.
Well, yeah, and that's understandable in today's climate. That's that seems to be the expected reaction, right? Because it's been done to such an extreme. But yeah, it's like I doubt there would have been a lot of pushback, and that's kind of the other layer is why are we you know ignoring beauty? Why are we pretending that beauty doesn't exist? That's the other side that isn't talked about quite a bit as much, but it's still there. You
Mm-hmm.
see it not just in the Odyssey, but in other movies as well, other shows and movies where just subjective beauty is ignored.
Let me ask you a question, Jerry. You have any normies in your family?
Yes.
Okay. Have you discussed the sort of thing with them at all?
No.
No, no. Okay.
I don't bother.
You don't bother.
I mean, every blue moon there might be a conversation. Like I remember what movie was it? I don't know why I'm drawing a blank, but it's the movie that was made about DEI, and it was the guy from Daily Wire, the beard. What is his name? I forgot. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Jon Stewart?
No. John Stewart. No. Oh, I said Daily. Well, no, the Ben
Oh,
Shapiro.
Walsh. Matt Walsh, right?
Yeah, Matt Walsh. Thank you. Yeah, he made that movie about DEI, right? Where he kind of it was interesting because it was kind of a documentary. I mean, it was a mockumentary, but what he did were real things. Like he really did these things, right? Where he got his
Was it
life
like
that.
what Was it What Is a Woman? Is that one or no?
No, it wasn't What Is a Woman. It's the second one. He made it after that.
Okay.
The name. But it was about where he interviewed some of these DEI proponents, and kind of turned their own logic against them. Right?
Yeah,
It's very foolish.
A lot of Sasha Barton when he did the ones that he did.
Wait, say it again.
Sasha Barton, was it?
You mean Sacha Baron Cohen?
Yeah, that guy.
Well, yeah, it was kind of in that vein. Yeah, that's exactly. It was in that vein, and me and my sons went to watch it with my wife, and it was interesting because she didn't see it as in the same light that we saw it, and so we're laughing at things and she's looking, going, "What's so funny?" So we had an interesting conversation after that movie, because I think a lot of the things that we were picking up on, she wasn't. Right. And that's what I'm saying. Like, that was a rare event because generally I just don't have these discussions because they kind of go nowhere. Yeah. So, but that was interesting because it's like, yeah, you start to get a sense of like what she sees and experiences in her sort of bubble, right? Mm. And what we experience and see in ours, right? And it's like, which one of us is looking at reality? That's where it boils down to what is real and what is true. And that movie, man, I wish I could remember the name of the movie, but it exposes what's true, right? But it exposes the truth in a way that's a net negative, right? Where you realize these things, these people who claim to be champions or who have been pedestalized.
Oh, okay. I think it's Am I Racist? Is that one?
Yes, Am I Racist? That's it. Thank you. Yeah, Am I Racist? And he exposed the hypocrisy and the illogical dynamic of what DI is, right, in practice. And that's the part that was, I think, for her eye opening to a degree. Like, oh, this is, oh, yeah. So, and she made some good points too about in practice what happens and what's going on. I'm like, yeah, that's fair. But in general, it's like, yeah, it was an interesting, lively discussion. And it's like, but it's a rare thing because at the end of the day, you end up hitting a brick wall where it's like, well, no one's going to budge, right? Because everyone believes what they believe, but the beauty of it is it does force you to think about what you believe. And I think that was the net positive, right? Is that in practice and in reality, it forced all of us to really question, what do I believe? What's true? And I think that's the net benefit. But generally I don't, because there's not a lot of opportunity. Like, that was an opportunity because we all went to see this movie and it sparked that conversation. But that doesn't happen often enough, unfortunately. Yeah. And two, a lot of my siblings, for example, they're older than me, so they're not going to listen. Right. I mean, that's just reality. They're not going to. Yeah, they're and I'm talking about significantly older. I don't mean like they're a couple of years. Like, the youngest I'm the youngest. It's still 10 years older than me.
Wow. Okay.
So that's what I'm dealing with. So they're not going to change their mind, right, at all. So and we've had, like I said, we've had interesting discussions. Like, one of my sisters, she's a feminist, even though she's married with a kid. She's So we've had conversations. I'm like, okay. And usually when I get her to paint herself into a corner, she just gives up and dismisses.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, but that's what I'm saying. It doesn't really go anywhere. There's no like, oh man, you're right. There's never that. I've only experienced that one time, and that wasn't with a family member. It was with a friend. Mm-hmm. It wasn't even necessarily like DI stuff. It had to do with biblical truths, and I expressed a biblical truth that contradicted his beliefs and what he was taught. And he came around and acknowledged that. And that was actually quite rewarding. I'll put it that way. So, but yeah, that's the only time. So yeah, it's rare that happens. Where if you can get someone to change their worldview for the better, That's a beautiful thing. That's an amazing thing. So, but unfortunately, yeah, it doesn't happen often enough.
Yeah, which is
So it
why
changes.
I have to, you know, uh, I have to like just kind of like stop like this morning. You know what? Let's not discuss it anymore. I tend to get that's a problem I have. I tend to get really um, passionate and kind of
Yeah,
heated.
yeah,
Um, and I love my sister. I don't want to say anything that I can't that I'll regret. You
yeah.
know,
Exactly right. See, that's why I discourage like insults. You know what I mean? Because what happens is if you're talking about strangers and you're labeling them in very negative terms, then those what's included is your own people, your own family, your own friends, right?
hmm
And you wouldn't call them a negative, whatever it is, to their face, right? You understand what I'm saying? Like, but if you can get in the habit of where you're pointing out, like, yeah, this doesn't make sense, this is foolish, it's silly, you know, and that's as far as you go, then you're in the habit of having dialogue with someone you do know, with someone who's personal to you, like your sister, right? Where you can
right.
just have a
Could
conversation
have
and not get to that point where you're on the verge of,
yeah, and I
saying
could
something you might regret.
yeah I could have said something like, well, what if you were a Greek person and you love the Odyssey, you love Homer, the Iliad, you love all these stories, and how would you feel if a movie based on those stories did what was done? Like I could have said that,
Yeah, yeah,
like, look at it from that perspective.
yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm saying. That's why I always use the flip it logical exercise, because if you can flip it around and it still makes sense, then it's like, okay, then it's acceptable. But if you flip it around and it doesn't make sense, then you have to determine, okay, why is that? Right? Is it because there's an exception here? Is it because, like, for example, if you're flipping the script in relation to sex, right? A man can do certain things and a woman can't, right? So if a man does a certain thing and you go, well, what if a woman did that? What would be the reaction? And you got to determine, oh, okay, if a woman did that, that becomes a problem because XYZ, right?
Mhm.
Then you determine, well, is that a double standard? Yes. Is it something that we can control? Probably not, right? Because it's in our nature, it's biological, etc. Right? You see what I'm saying? Like, you can point out that yes, this is a double standard because XYZ, and it's just something that exists because of the nature of what we are, right?
Mhm.
And that's all I'm saying with these type of things. And this is just entertainment. We're not talking about things far more serious, like male female dynamics, But it's like, yeah, race swapping. Okay, well, would it be a problem if it were, like we always say, Black Panther was white, right?
Mhm.
Yes, it would be, right?
Yeah.
It would be. You can talk to anybody, and yeah, they'll have a problem with it, And that's kind of what I'm saying. It's like, so if you have a problem in that direction, then why can't the inverse be a problem, right? It's like, it's simple as that. It's a logical fallacy to try and say, well, like this one guy tried to argue there's an exception with Black Panther, and his argument actually bolsters the argument against it, right? Because you're saying it's a fictional country, and it's a country that's all black. I'm like, yeah, that's literally what's happening with the Odyssey. It's a fictional story where the characters are all Greek, right? Like, what are you talking about? Like,
Yeah.
and this is what I'm saying though, is when you fail to make that logical exercise, then it causes you to go down illogical paths just to defend your stance, because it forces you to lie to yourself, and therefore you end up lying to others, right? Because if you start from a dishonest premise, then nothing but dishonesty is going to come from it. I mean, it's that simple. But if you start from an honest premise, you may make mistakes, due to a lack of information or something, but you're going to end up at an honest conclusion, right?
Yeah.
And that should be the goal. So the problem is a lot of people don't do it because they reason. I have a very good friend. He likes to debate about these things, but he always debates from emotions. He doesn't debate from like he'll take something logical like a statistic, but then he wraps his emotions around it.
Yeah.
He draws these conclusions, and I go, well, how do you know that? He said, well, of course, because and it's like, yeah, but how do you know that? It's like so everything you're declaring is true based on this statistic that you quoted, but you have no evidence that supports that. You're just saying because this statistic says what it does, that means these things are true. And that's not how logic works. That's not how reality works. And that's the problem with these conversations. They don't, you know, a lot of people don't approach them honestly, right? Especially on online with the X and all that. It's a lot of trolls. They're just trying to get engagement. So they'll just say the most outrageous thing, even though they know it's fallacious. It doesn't matter as long as it gets you to reply. It's
True.
like the whole Superman scene, where Pa Kent dies. Still debate about that to this day, whether it's a good scene or not.
Well, man, what do you mean?
Whether you like it or not is irrelevant. But it's one guy posting. He goes, "If you don't like this scene, then you're just dumb and you lack common sense and all these kind of things." It's like, okay, so you're just an idiot if you don't get this scene. And it's like, well, no one's arguing that they don't get it. So you're creating a straw man off the rip, right? But why does someone have to be an idiot just because they don't like a scene in a movie? Right? But this is the nature of conversation online, so that's unfortunate. Yeah, but yeah, I would say love your sister.
No, I love my sister.
Be nice to your sister, Ron.
Yeah, which is why I have to end the conversation before.
Yeah, exactly. Don't argue with your sister.
No, no, don't argue with your sister. Like, oh, jeez,
Okay.
I go.
Is she an older sister or a younger sister?
1 year younger.
Oh,
So
okay. So you guys are
we're not
close.
that far apart in age. It's just 1 year younger.
Oh, okay. So that's
Yeah.
not a huge.
No, it's not a huge gap.
Yeah, so that's good. So that's. I mean, make it. I'll put it that way. Have fun with it.
Yeah.
That's the best way to approach it with your family. Have fun with it.
But yeah, it can be frustrating sometimes because she doesn't see things the way that I do it. Like I can't force her to see things.
Yeah. You just have to try and convince her. And sometimes people don't want to engage either. So if you give them like I said, I like to do the flip it. And when I start asking those questions, then they're like, I don't,
And a lot of times
engage,
a lot of times people don't want to hear you. They resist your logic.
Yeah, they do. Because it's you. Because you're not supposed to be more right than they are.
Yeah.
You're not.
Or they just want to like what they like, and they don't like you challenging that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they just want to like. And listen, if you like it, you like it. And it's like that's where the
Do you
nuance.
think? Do you think? Do you think that you can like something at the same time as recognizing its flaws?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Because I do it. I mean, there's things that I like. Like for example, I brought this up with Jerry. Wonder Woman 1982. I was entertained by that movie. I
Mhm.
watched it. I actually enjoyed it. While at the same time, I recognized the plot was dumb. The character development was terrible for Cheetah. The whole idea of Steve Trevor inhabiting the body of another person, like it's this wish that changes reality. Therefore, why would he need to occupy another body? Why wouldn't he just be brought back?
Mm-hmm.
Whole cloth, right? Without like all it's so logically flawed in it. Like the movie is terrible on that front. It's a terrible story. But at the same time, when I watch it, I've watched it twice already. I'm still entertained by it because I like Wonder Woman and she does a lot of cool stuff. in the movie, right? She actually a lot more than she did in the first movie, you know. And it's just a fun ride, I guess. It's nonstop action, and that's kind of it. Like I recognize, yeah, this is a garbage movie, but I still like watching it. Like what I mean? Like it's a funny dichotomy, but it's true. Like you can
I mean,
like
I
enjoy
guess,
something and still know, like, yeah, this is a terrible.
I guess,
Know why it's terrible.
you know what? I'll admit, there's some things like that for me too. There are.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
it's definitely possible.
I can
And
say, that Amazing Spider-Man 2 is one of those.
oh, maybe, yeah, yeah, that's a good example because I'm of the same mind. Yeah, like it has its problems for sure,
Yeah.
but it is still watchable, right? It's still something you can sit up. Like if I caught it on like cable or something, I'd probably just watch it. You know what I mean? I wouldn't go, oh, I don't want to watch this. Like, no, I'll just watch it. Because it's Spider Man, right? And, Spider
There
Man awesome.
are movies that if like I'm in a room with people and that's on the TV, I have to walk out of the room.
Yeah,
I can't even have it on in the background. No.
right. But yeah, it's definitely possible, and I'm sure that's true for a lot of people. They, what do you call it? Like guilty pleasures, right?
Mm-hmm.
Know it's bad, but they still just like it for some reason. Right?
All right. Well, we've exhausted that topic. Anything else you want to discuss on the mind?
Well, I wanted to get to the main topic, which is, will AI replace animators and really artists in general? Eric July dropped a video a while, not too long ago, about the topic of that sort of animation or traditional, animation and animators are, they're kind of going away because of AI. Because we have some recent releases from, I don't know if it was Disney or Warner Brothers, but they released some AI generated uh, children shows,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously a lot of people are mad about it. They're kind of huffing and puffing, and he's kind of saying, "Well, this is kind of the future. You can't blame." And his argument is kind of like, you thought it would just be exclusive to the indies using this technology. You thought the big guns would kind of ignore it or still resist it for the sake of their people, the writers unions and the actors unions. And it's like that's not true, right? They're definitely going to take advantage of this technology because it's going to save them a ton of money. Right? And he's right about that. They are going to take advantage of the technology. But what he's wrong about, which, this is one of the rare times I kind of disagree with him, and that is that animators would just kind of just go the way of the dinosaur. Like they're just going to all just be laid off or not hired, right? And it's like, well, I don't think so because right now, because of the AI space and the AI video space, um, there are animators and filmmakers who have worked in traditional animation and filmmaking and who have adapted themselves to AI, and they're finding work like crazy, right? They're getting paid thousands of dollars to produce advertising, animated shorts, web series, go on. Right? So there's sort of a boom in AI animation employment. And so my argument is, well, animators aren't going away. What's going to happen, and I can say this with confidence because I've seen it happen in my own career, coming from traditional graphic design and art, painting. I learned to paint, draw, sculpt. I've done all that. Went to college for all that stuff, studio arts. But while I was there, I realized I needed to learn how to use a computer and do computer graphics. So I took computer graphics courses because I saw the writing on the wall at that time. And I'm glad I did because the vast majority of my employment has involved knowing how to use digital tools. And so, you know, a lot of artists resisted that. And I have peers that didn't take computer courses. They didn't want to do it. They thought, I'm going to use Photoshop. That's crazy. I know how to draw. I know how to paint, right? I know how to do photography. I have a camera, And it's like,
Now,
okay.
and Yeah, and
and they
they're
ended up struggling to find work, you know,
yeah. So
because they didn't know how to use the new tools at the time.
so essentially, what you're saying is that people who like resist adaptation or to adapt are gonna just not, you know, yeah.
Yeah,
That
it's the saying, adapt or die, right? And right now is the time to adapt because it's not just for the sake of a job, although that's a big part of it, but it's also for your own sake as a creator. If it's like if someone left a brand new, you know, Maserati in your driveway with the keys in it, and it's just there, it's yours. Are you not going to drive it? You know, full tank of gas, right? I mean, of course you are. You got a Maserati, like it's yours now, and that's kind of what's happening with AI technology. Is, you know, it's there for you to learn and figure out how to use it if you're willing to learn, right? If you're willing to do it, but if you still have this mentality of sort of turning your nose up to it, you know, like it's lesser than, and it's, you know, it's an abomination, and, oh, it's theft, it steals, you know, it's like, well, you can keep holding on to that and draw the line, and that's fine, you know. Respect your you want to adhere to your principles, but sometimes your these principles are misguided, you know, and not all AI is theft, right? There's
I
thieves
think I
who use
think
AI to steal,
I think
and
it's
then
gonna take.
there's just AI technology that's used to produce creative
I mean,
works.
do you think it's gonna take a long time for the stigma to kind of die down, or it's gonna be quick?
No, I don't think it will take a long time. I think when money starts, you know, like the problem is a lot of these guys aren't aware that there's a whole cottage industry that's developing right now in that space. It's running parallel to the traditional pipelines, and the problem is animators. You know, a lot of these animators just want a job. They just want work, right? And it's like, okay, but you're not going to get it because they're not looking for you anymore. They're looking for the animator that has experience with ChatGPT and Claude and that knows how to use an LLM and that understands how video models work and they know how to prompt to get certain results and then fill in the blanks when needed because they have traditional talent. Right? And that's what I'm saying. Like, and they're looking for animators that have a producer's mind, right? That has a director's mind. You see what I mean? Because most animators, that's what you are. You're a director and producer, right? When you learn to animate,
You're a storyteller.
yeah, you're a storyteller. So all you're really required to do with AI is take those storytelling skills and leverage AI to produce, right?
Yeah.
And you can start with keyframes, right? Hand drawn, hand done, right? You know, or digital, whatever, and then leverage those keyframes using AI to fill out your story, right? But what I'm saying is a lot of the animators, they're so stuck on sort of this traditional, I need to get a job at, you know, XYZ studio, right? As an animator, as a tweener, as a cleanup artist, as whatever. And it's like, okay, you can want those things, but it's getting to a point where they don't need those things. What they need is an animator that knows how to direct and produce and create a shot
Hmm.
using AI, right? Why? Because it's more efficient, it's more proficient, right? And it allows you to iterate more and faster. So what does that mean? Well, if a studio has very deep pockets, which most of them do, and instead of spending 200 million on one movie, they could spend 200,000 per movie. Do you understand what I'm saying?
So essentially, AI is going to be the end of bloated movie budgets.
Well, I wouldn't say that because that's all about the choices executives make and money laundering. There's a lot that goes into that. So
Hmm.
I wouldn't I wouldn't say that. But introducing AI definitely will lower the cost generally of production, right?
Mhm.
But I think, in my opinion, it will also create more opportunities for individual animators to succeed within the studio system because they're going to structure it in a way it's going to be different from before, right? They're going to have like these think tanks and boot camps and cohorts where they're developing series and shows, and they can develop a lot more, a lot quicker, and see what works, right? So I think they're going to have these animation labs where they're going to hire the best animators to come in with ideas of their own or just to develop ideas using AI to see, okay, does it work? Can it, will it build an audience? Will it, you know, who will respond? And they'll do a lot more original works because of that. And so that's kind of what I'm saying is there's unique opportunities. If listen, not every animator is going to get work, but that's true even without AI, right? Every animator fresh out of school isn't going to get a job, and eventually they're going to give up and they're going to get regular work somewhere else.
Right.
That happens all the time, way before AI was introduced. I've met these guys. I've worked with them, right? I know guys that worked on The Simpsons, right? Did backgrounds. He did it for like 2, 3 seasons and then got laid off. Why? Who knows? Right? Maybe they streamlined the process. It was like, oh, we don't need as many background artists anymore, right? You understand? Because The Simpsons is still going. It's never stopped, right? So it's
Yeah.
like, why did they let you
I,
off? Well, you were probably the weakest link in that
I still don't
pipeline.
know how that show is still.
Honestly, I don't know either, but it is what it is. But you understand what I'm saying? It's like they fired their composer, remember? And because they're doing it all digital, right? They got a guy with a laptop composing music instead of an actual orchestra, right? So they're not paying the orchestra and the composer millions of dollars anymore, even though they can afford it. The show makes millions of dollars. They're paying a guy with a laptop hundreds of thousands of dollars. Right?
Mhm.
So, and that's the point I'm making. And eventually, they'll probably do the same with the cast, right? And they'll sign contracts, and they'll license their voices so that they can use them in perpetuity. I wouldn't be surprised if they haven't already done that, where they don't even have to come in and do any voice work. They just get a check, right? So the landscape is changing, but it doesn't mean there won't be work for animators and artists. It just means the work is changing, just like it has in the past with graphic design, right? And general digital art and advertising art. It went from pen and pad and draft boards and all this stuff to Photoshop and Illustrator.
Mhm.
But those same designers, and I know because I met with them, I was one of them, who were doing the traditional stuff, said, I'm going to learn, right? And they learned. And they learned Illustrator, they learned Photoshop, they learned digital tools, they learned how to use a scanner, digital printer, and all this stuff. And guess what? They didn't lose their jobs. Or if they did, they were able to pivot and get a new job as an artist or animator.
Right.
And they learn Maya and learn 3D and all. You understand? Like, and the first thing they'll tell you if you go to any art school, right? And I've talked to these guys. First thing they tell you is learn how to draw, learn how to be an artist. Why? Because just because you know how to use Blender or Maya or any Lightwave 3D and all these other programs, these VFX softwares, Nuke and all that, just because you know how to use the technical software doesn't make you an artist. You still have to know and understand art, like figuring ground and shadows, things like that, right? You have to understand how art works, right? There's principles in art, right?
Mhm.
So it's like that's the first thing they'll tell you. And it's the same thing with AI. If you talk to an AI person who's working in AI, producing content, etc., they'll still tell you, yeah, you should learn how to be an artist. You should still learn art. You should still learn how to draw and understand the principles of art and design and graphics and VFX, etc. Because that's going to feed into your ability to leverage AI properly and create really great results versus slop, right? And so that's why I disagree with them that animators are just going to lose your jobs, and it's like, well, No, they won't be lost. They're just going to evolve. Just like the traditional graphic artists, traditional layout artists, traditional painters, etc. They weren't just done away with. They evolved into digital artists, graphic designer, desktop publisher. Now it's a general technologist, right? That's you'll see that in gaming a lot, where it's a guy that's a graphic designer, a web designer, web developer, but he's also 3D modeler. Yeah, like he wears a lot of hats, right? You know,
Yeah.
that's kind of what I'm saying, and that's going to happen with animation. You're gonna have guys that wear a lot of hats, and to me, that's a good thing. It doesn't mean they're going to hire as many. Like if they hired 1,000, in the past for a project, maybe you could cut that, to 700 or 600. You understand? Like yeah, they're not going to hire as many, right? That's just facts. And that was true when the digital age hit. They didn't have to hire as many before, right? But with AI, it's not going away, right? So you either take the time to learn it and figure it out and how to leverage it and what you can
Hmm.
do it, or you don't and you try to stand on some kind of principle that really doesn't exist, right? Because it's not stealing. It's not, it's a tool that you, like I said, some people do steal, right? But that was true before you
Yeah.
stole art all the time, especially with the age of the internet, Photoshop. So, that hasn't changed. The laws hasn't changed. It's still against the law, right? So use the tool to your advantage. Uh, and the beauty is, just like with these other tools, you learn Unreal Engine, you learn Blender, you learn Maya. Guess what happens? Well, now you can build your own stuff too, right? Just like you're a traditional animator, yeah, he's worked for Disney, he's in the Disney pipeline, right? He's doing the tweening and all that. But guess what happens, right? We get a Don Bluth that goes out on his own and builds his own, does his own stuff. Why? Because he honed his skills, right? You
Yeah, but
understand?
I mean, is Don Bluth working on anything right now? Because I haven't
He has
seen.
a school now. He teaches animation. He
Oh,
teaches traditional animation. So and that's what I'm saying. And rightfully so. He should. If I were him, I would go beyond just teaching animation, but I would try to encourage animators to say, come in, learn the fundamentals, learn the basics. Let's get you to an advanced level, and then let's start leveraging these other digital tools along with AI.
hmm.
Right? Let's figure out some pipelines here, and then start doing like student projects and things like that. That's what I would do if I were him. I would embrace it. Just like the Earthworm Jim guy. Uh, he fully embraced
Yeah.
it because he sees the writing on the wall. He's like, yeah, man, this is awesome. This is amazing because it gives power to an individual artist to their make their dreams real, right? Make your story you've been working on. And not only can you make it real, but the cost basis is so much lower, right? So now it's just about time. It's not just about money anymore. It's about time. It's about time and talent. Time, talent, technique. You understand? It's quite amazing when you really stop and think about it, the potentiality, because it's going to get cheaper. It's not going to get more expensive, right? So,
Yeah. All right.
so that's kind of where I wanted to come from because I just thought that's interesting. It's such a dire perspective, but it should be exciting to a lot of, especially those who really are talented, right? Who, you know, and out of that, even those who are traditional, you know, now there's going to be a demand for traditional as well. I mean, there already was, right? A lot of people appreciate traditional and hand-drawn animation.
Yeah, I miss hand drawn animation.
Yeah, so there's still a niche for that, right? There's still a demand. It is niche though. Right? It's not necessarily mainstream, but it doesn't have to be. I think Eric Gillette is right when he says the idea of like global or corporate uh, IPs, right? Like mainstream is kind of going to go away, and it's going to be more about sort of just finding your audience and being more niche
Hmm.
and just focusing on like I'm doing this thing, whatever it is, and I have this audience of several thousand people who love what I'm doing, and that feeds my machine, right? We're not feeding the Hollywood machine; we're just feeding mine, and I think that's going to grow by leaps and bounds. You know, I think I agree with him on that. I think that is the future of independent content creation. Like the big guys are going to always be there because they have deep pockets, right? But I think indie artists have a huge opportunity because now you don't need deep pockets. You just need a good idea.
Um, let me ask a question. Do you? I've said this. Do you want to see Disney just go away?
Um, no, I don't want them to go away. I want them to change for the better. I want them to get back to what they used to be.
What do you think is more likely?
I think what's more likely is that they'll go away. Not completely though. I think they'll break up into pieces again. And so all the IP they own would kind of go out into the marketplace and be picked up by other studios, and they'll become.
I would like to see, for example, Pixar go independent.
Yeah, I've always wanted that for Pixar, and I always thought it was a mistake that they stuck with Disney, but I understand it because it's money, right? Um,
Yeah, but I think Pixar's at a point right now where they can just branch off on their own without Disney.
no, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No,
Really?
they're too closely tied to the Disney brand now, and I mean they can try. I don't even think they have the money. Pixar really hasn't been profitable. You know,
No.
the only profits are coming from basically from Toy Story. That's why they keep making Toy Story because it's the
Right.
people still buying those toys to this day. But part of that is because of the Disney engine, right? They're good at marketing, and Pixar doesn't have that. Remember John Lasseter came from Disney, and then he ran Pixar, right, with Ed Catmull, right? And they developed something really special, and I think the time to have separated would have been probably right around where Toy Story 2 came out. I think that
Mm.
would have been when they should have just became their own thing and figured out their distribution, raised capital, all that stuff, right? But they
Yeah.
didn't. They just went in deeper with Disney because it's at the time they probably, and plus they made John Lasseter over all of Disney animation, not just Pixar. And on Disney part, that was smart because they didn't want Pixar to separate, and they knew Pixar was basically Ed Catmull, John Lasseter.
Yeah, but they went back on that, and they
Well, yeah, they screwed him over later. I think it was right after Coco came out, right, or something like that, where the accusations and all that. And it's like it's unfortunate they bought into the cancel culture nonsense, right? The what was it? Believe all women, foolishness, all that.
yeah.
Yeah, they just bought into it, unfortunately, and you know, they railroaded them out, and that was a mistake. And I think they're suffering for that because he was Pixar. As just as Steve Jobs was Apple, John Lasseter was Pixar.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they screwed up with that, and now
And then after that, Pixar was the one that came out with some of the most woke animated movies.
yeah,
Disney.
that's what I'm saying. Like you see the shift in the quality of storytelling and it's like it doesn't hit the same as the first Toy Story, as the first Cars, right?
Yeah.
Bugs Life, like it just
Monsters.
doesn't hit the same. Yeah, Monsters Inc. It just doesn't, right? Because Pixar was not supposed to be.
The Incredibles, one of my favorites.
Yeah, same here. Right, one of my absolute favorites. But it wasn't supposed to be this franchise machine like Disney is. It was supposed to be this, 3D studio that produced quality entertainment. That they were kind of meant to be one-offs, right? Telling original stories. They weren't meant to be Toy Story 2, Toy Story 3, like that wasn't supposed to be the case. It was supposed to be Toy Story, Cars, Monsters Inc., Bugs Life, and then whatever else, The Good Dinosaur, or whatever, right? Brave. Like, it's supposed
Right.
to be these one-off stories. That's what they were supposed to be. That's how they were positioned, and it made sense because they had a process for how they developed their stories in house, right? And it's unfortunate that they just weren't supposed to be at Disney, but see, because they continued to latch on to Disney, they became Disney. You know what I mean? Like they're Disney. That's why it's like it's funny they call it Disney Pixar. It's like, well, does it matter? It's just Disney.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah. I mean,
works against them because of the nature of the
what's
kind of stories they tell.
what's the major difference between like a CG Disney movie and a CG Pixar movie? Like what?
Literally nothing, right?
Nothing.
And that's what I mean. It's so ridiculous. It's like just absorb them into Disney animation proper, and that's leave it at that. Just call it a day. Pixar doesn't really exist, right?
Not the
But
way it used to. No.
no, yeah, and that was that was the thing because, like I said, I was hopeful of that. I remember having conversations about that. Like, man, like they need to go ahead and just become their own studio and just be independent, and then they can farm out, not farm out. They can partner with whoever they want for distribution. So it could be
Warner
Disney
Brothers
sometimes, it could be
or
Warner
whatever.
Brothers,
Yeah.
Paramount. Yeah, it doesn't matter because it's going to always be Pixar. This is a Pixar production, right? And they had the power to do that once Toy Story dropped and Toy Story 2 was coming. They had the power to do that, you know, and they just didn't. Yeah. And like I said, I think Disney just beat them, because I think John Lasseter and Ed Catmull were talking about. They were definitely. It was a conversation for sure, but Disney just made them an offer. They're just like, yeah, let's just take it.
Do
Like I
you?
said,
Oh, question. Do you have any interest in watching Toy Story 5?
no.
No, neither do I.
My sons do. They want to see it, so they grew up,
No,
watch.
I grew up on the Toy Story movies, but
But I don't. I personally, I don't. I'm not as excited about it. I don't.
I
I feel like it's too much
I
at this
liked
point.
I liked 1, 2, and 3. I think 3 was a perfect end for the franchise for the IP. 4 was, oh god, 4 pissed me off a lot.
Yeah, a lot of people don't like four.
A, a,
It was okay.
4 really, 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 really pissed me off a lot. Um, and I don't see how 5 could have fixed anything that happened in 4. I don't.
Yeah, I don't. But you know, we'll see. I mean, listen, I think it's going to do well. It'll probably hit 1 billion. I wouldn't be surprised. It's probably a reasonably good story, you know, because they do have a good track record. So
Uh, well, I mean,
we'll
who has
see.
a track record?
Well, Pixar in general, like
Not recently. No.
well, I mean specifically with Toy Story, 1 through 3, I think are excellent.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Four is a step down, but it's still solid. So that's kind of
I,
what I'm saying. It still did
I
well.
don't know. I wouldn't even call it. I hated it a lot.
Well, that's fair, but it did well in the box office as well. So that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. It's
I
so
got.
it's kind of like, yeah, it'll probably be on the same level as four, I think. So
Maybe, but I know that after the failure of Alio, what was his name?
was that Pixar or was that Disney?
That was Pixar.
That was Pixar. Wow.
Yeah. That he had said something like, "Oh, we're not making multi-million-dollar therapy sessions. We're making movies." Like, okay, so that was good to hear. I don't know if I don't know how far production Toy Story 5 was. Uh, like when that was said, probably pretty far into it. But I don't know. Maybe that's a good sign. Maybe they'll return to form, making
good movies. I don't know. I have no
I don't,
idea.
I don't honestly don't think they will. As long as they're part of Disney, they're not.
Yeah.
Disney is completely sold out to the DEI virtue signaling nonsense. So they're just gonna dig their heels in more. So I don't see it happening unless they break away, and
Yeah.
that's not gonna happen at all. So because the money's kind of intermingled, right? Unless Pixar proper negotiated ownership of all their IP,
Yeah. There is
that's the only way I can
there
see
is
it.
there is no way that Disney would let go of the Toy Story characters. There's no way.
Well, they wouldn't let it go, but what I'm saying is if they own their IP, that means they're licensing it to Disney, which means they can't separate without losing that revenue.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. But if they didn't structure that way, then they're never going to separate.
No. No.
So
There's
that's kind of what I mean is it's like they're just so deeply entrenched.
I mean,
Like
maybe they could get away with it with the Monsters Inc. characters or even the Bugs Life characters. Maybe.
nah, it would be a package deal, meaning all because remember Disney also partially funded these movies going forward, right?
Yeah.
So there's definitely going to be negotiation regarding IP ownership. And Pixar may still, which is why it's Disney Pixar versus just Disney, right? Because Pixar still have an ownership. So they're probably licensing these IPs, but um, they're probably so entangled, right? You know what I mean? Like it probably wouldn't even help if they did try to break away. Like, it probably wouldn't be enough money. They would have to raise a hell of a amount of capital.
Or another
Which they
option.
could do.
Another option would be for a bunch of people that work at Pixar to branch off and start their own.
Well,
animation
that's kind of
studio.
what's happening with Lasseter, right? I think he's at is he at Legendary? I think, and
Well, let me check.
someone else joined him. I forgot who it was. So I think there's a couple of Pixar guys that are doing their own thing, and they're working with Apple TV. They developed a show on Apple TV. So
Yeah, let me check. I'm going on John Lasseter wiki. Let me see because I'm curious. Early life, blah blah blah. First he said
he's
Disney.
definitely still doing some things.
Okay. Okay. So January 2019, Lasseter hired to head Skydance.
Yeah, Skydance. That's what it is.
New animation division of Skydance Media formed in 2017. Statement Lasseter said, I have spent the last year away from the industry in deep reflection, learning how my actions unintentionally made colleagues uncomfortable, which I deeply regret and apologize for. Basically, he bent the knee, whatever. I don't know. I don't know what happened. Maybe the allegations are true, but it has been humbling. Blah 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 blah. Okay, so yeah, I mean he's there, but what has he been involved with though? Like
He developed something for Apple TV. They did
oh wait, he's
animated series or something.
cool. He's actually involved with the Ray Gunn movie that Brad Bird is doing.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
You know about that
It's
movie?
another right, Brad Bird. Yeah, Brad Bird is working with him again.
Well,
So he's coming back.
Do you know about the Ray Gunn movie or no?
Yeah, I've heard something about it. It's still in development though, right? It's not.
Yeah, it's still in development. I think his first movie that he was involved with was Luck, which was like an Apple TV.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I have you seen that, or I don't know how it is. I don't know.
I don't have Apple TV, so
Okay, yeah.
so I don't watch any of this stuff. I have no
Uh,
idea.
so
But yeah, so they're still active. They're still, and yeah, he's working with Brad Bird, which
yeah,
he did
so
The Incredibles.
he's working with Brad Bird on Ray Gunn. He did the Swapped movie. He was involved with the Swapped movie that was on Netflix, I think.
Okay. Yeah. So he hasn't made any big splashes yet, but that's probably a matter of time.
Yeah, but I am interested in that Ray Gunn movie though. That could be kind of cool. It's being directed by Brad Bird.
Yeah, I like Blackbird.
I don't know. Incredibles 2 was kind of mixed for me.
Yeah, it wasn't as good as the first one. I think it could have used a more refined story.
Yeah, so
Like,
John Lasseter is producing the Ray Gun, and what's really cool is that it's not Disney. This is not a Disney movie. It's coming out on Netflix this year, actually.
oh, really? So it's not
In December of this year. Yeah.
nice.
So we should be able to check that out soon. I'm interested in that. Let's see. He also produced Swapped movie by Skydance, and then the Spellbound movie. He produced that. Yeah. So he's
Yeah, they're still active.
doing a Jack and the Beanstalk project. All right, gonna be kind of cool.
Yeah, sounds good. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see going forward. But yeah, Pixar's, I think they're just so entrenched, they're not going anywhere. So, that's what it
Yeah.
is. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have. Learn AI.
Yeah,
The lesson.
I'm pretty spent on topics, so I'm kind of like good.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've said what we had to say.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. Thanks, Becca Missionary, for hanging out there. I always appreciate you. And yeah, you guys have a great Super Galactic Saturday, and be safe out there.
Later.